Well, ladies and gents, the Wachusett Reservoir just opened a couple days ago, so today I'm going to be trying my luck here. I think over this next week I'm going to be hitting it pretty hard. We'll see if I combine it all to one video or make them separate. It's going to depend on how much I catch, but currently it's snowing. There's a good amount of cars in the gate that I parked at, but I'm pretty excited to get out there. This place is a fun place to fish at. Super challenging, but if you put the time in, it can be very worth it. There's some prehistoric monsters in here, so got a nice mile walk in, something around there, so I'm gonna keep this brief and get right to stepping. Well, finally made it out here. Long freaking walk, but on my first spot I want to try. A couple other people here, but that's to be expected. It's also a bit windy, but it's also to be expected. I'm probably going to thoroughly cover each spot I go to. I'm planning on coming here at least 3 days this week, so I'm going to take my time at every gate that I hit. But I think the target for today is mainly lake trout. Maybe I'll try for some smallies, but I'm really here for some lakers. Ooh, I just got one. Oh, that's a fish. Yep, that's a good one. Oh my God. Yeah, that feels very nice. There we go, baby. It's a solid first laker. The blade bait, dude, this thing's freaking nasty. How's it going? You guys been having luck?
We got two.
Yeah.
Kind of slow.
Yeah. I don't know, I just got here.
I know, good for you, right away.
Yeah, right, I know. What are you guys using, shiners? I usually, blade baits do pretty good for me. I let them sink a bit, reel them in.
Yeah.
Some days I get like 10, other days 0. Like, you know how it is.
Always do good out here.
Yeah.
All right, man, good luck.
Thank you, you too. Oh, there's the first one. Beautiful laker. Probably about 2 feet. One of the bigger ones I've gotten. I mean, that thing put up a good fight. Beautiful fish, though. This guy's gonna come home with me for dinner, I think. I think that was the fastest I've ever caught a fish out here. I think that was like 3 casts, 2 casts. That was crazy. For you guys that are wondering exactly what I'm using, this is just a little blade bait. I always use silver in places like this where there's alewives, because alewives are like the primary forage for anything that swims in a place that has alewives. Everything eats alewives. And typically, especially with the wind blowing in your face, they'll kind of corral the alewives towards the shore and they'll feed on them pretty heavy. This is the first time I've ever actually used a blade bait in here. I don't know why I never thought of it, but I mean, within the first 5 casts, I just got a fish, so. All right, well, I worked this whole shoreline. I think I'm gonna make a change in spots. So I'm gonna make the walk all the way back to my car, get this trout in the car, then drive to a different gate, walk in. Hopefully I can get at least one more. That'd be very good. But I'm gonna do a little catch and cook today. Thankfully I did get one, so I can do it. But that's gonna be after I do some more fishing. First spot number 2. We're in a cove a bit off the main lake, super common here. I know it gets pretty deep. There's a loon out there right now, which I think is a pretty good sign. Usually loons follow the bait fish, and so do lake trout. Kind of starting to dump, so I'm hoping my camera gear doesn't get all messed up. I'm gonna try my best to at least get one more laker. Smallmouth would not be unwelcome. And yeah, I'm probably gonna hit this whole shoreline pretty hard and then call it a day. I'm gonna kind of keep it to 2 gates per day I go here, so I can really cover a lot of ground and like do it well instead of really just running along the shore. Well, didn't realize my camera was off the last spot, but I'm at a good rock ledge over here. There's a ton of dead shiners up on the rocks. I think some guy probably dumped them out. He didn't want them anymore. I, however, will use these. I'm not gonna put them out over here, but there's a spot further down. I think these will work pretty good. Yeah, they stink. That'll work perfect. Like I said, not using them in this specific spot, but I will use them a little further down. Oh my God, that rock freaking got me. Is that a fish? Oh my God, it's a fish. Ate it on the way down. Dude, that's a pretty good one. I just felt my lure stop moving. I was letting it sink all the way to the bottom. Reeled all the way in, it was a little too freaking heavy. That's a decent one. Get up here. There we go, baby. It's one more laker on the board. Gorgeous fish right there. These things are just so cool looking. That is gonna be dinner though. Let's go. When you're bleeding your fish out, or when you do catch a fish that you're gonna keep, this is what I do, make sure the meat's good. Take a pair of scissors and knife, or you can even use your hands and just sever the gills like I just did. And I don't have my knife with me. That usually works best, or they make specific tools for this, but if you grab it under its gill plate, then I just have my scissors. Knife works better, like I said. Right behind the eyes, like top of the head, right here. Press it through, it'll wiggle a bit. You can move that back and forth. There you go. And that fish is done. Number 1, that makes sure the fish doesn't suffer at all. Number 2, make sure all those stress hormones don't go into your meat, make it taste all fishy and funky. Let me get back out there real quick, because usually those things travel in packs. So all I'm doing is casting that out, and I like to keep my line kind of in the water right here. You can see, you can follow it as it falls. The way I just got that fish is on the fall, it stopped. I almost thought it was in the bottom, but it stops just like that, reel the way in. I try to get up to it quick, just in case it is a fish. It wasn't a fish this time, I was just on the bottom, but how I got that fish is the line stopped and I reeled into it, and it was a bit heavy. So I was like, that could potentially be a fish, because a lot of times lake trout, they'll hit your lure as it's falling. So I like to reel it in, not too fast. I'll just reel a decent pace, go for about 5-10 seconds, and then once I feel like I've moved it up the water column a good amount, I'll stop, flip my bail, do the same thing. Leave that line on the top of the water, watch it all go out, and then keep reeling. Every 5-10 seconds I'll do that. Lets you fish a wider column of the water, and the lake trout like it because it kind of seems like a fish is moving, then it kind of stops and dies and starts falling. Oh, that's a fish. There we go. That's a pretty good one. Just like I said, hit the bottom, keep reeling. And there we go. Doesn't feel huge. Yeah, kind of the same size as the other one. There we go, baby. Maybe I will stay here. Get up here. Lake trout are freaking chewing today. Let's go. Good size guy right there. Same as the other one almost, but God, I do love some lake trout, especially when they're chewing good like this. All right, since I just got two, I'll set up my bait caster with one of these shiners, dead ones. See if I can't get a big boy to eat. But that's my 3 trout limit right there. Never limited out on lake trout at this place, so safe to say it's a pretty decent day. I left my other rods in the car because I didn't think I'd be needing them. And then I found a pile of shiners, so I'm kind of regretting that choice. We'll make do though, we will make do. Well, that didn't work at all. Well, we're back in the car. I fished a bit more after those 2 Lakers, but couldn't find anything else. Not gonna complain though. Catching 3 fish at Wachusett is a pretty good day. I've come here many times and gotten skunked, so I'm happy. I think the biggest one was probably 26 inches, that first one. I'm gonna need to measure it at some point, but I'm hoping to get into some bigger ones. I'm not exactly sure what the best way is to catch the big ones, but I'll probably stick with chucking lures for now. And if that doesn't work, then I'll switch it up a bit, maybe try some bait or bottom lure or something. But I'm gonna run to the grocery store, get some stuff to make trout sandwiches. Then I'll see you guys back at home for the cook portion. So the first step here is gonna be to get your fish on a cutting board and find yourself a very sharp kitchen knife or fillet knife. I like to fillet my fish by first making an incision along the length of the fish, right behind the gill plate. Then I like to poke my knife through right along the spine next to the dorsal fin and follow all the way up to the top of the fish where I made my first cut. After that, I keep going down the length of the fish, all the way down to the anal fin where I poke my knife through and cut all the way through the tail. Then I just keep sliding my knife along the spine and down towards the belly of the fish. Once you run to the pin bones, you're going to need to apply a good amount of pressure to break through them. But make sure not to cut too hard or else you're going to break through the ribs and you'll have to slice those off. After you get through the pin bones, the rib should be right there, and as long as you use light pressure and just keep gliding your knife along it, you'll be able to separate the meat right off the ribs and leave nothing behind. Once I'm all the way down to the belly meat and where the fins are, I'll disconnect that chunk of meat from the fish. I like to leave the skin on my fillet because I think it tastes good, but it's your choice to remove it. After you have your fillet, I like to wash them in very cold water and get all the slime and dirt or whatever the fish may have collected while I was dragging it on my backpack. And then I'll take a towel and pat off both sides, making sure that it's dry. And there you have your whole trout fillet. You can either choose to cut the pin bones out, pull them out with a tweezer, or what I do is I cook them first, and then I'll just pull the pin bones out from the meat. I think that is the easiest way. Once you have your fillets, preheat your oven to 350, and while it warms up, you can brine your fillets. The brine consists of brown sugar, salt, and garlic powder. After you have your brine made, pat down your trout fillets one more time to make sure they're completely dry, and then you can place them on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. I like to apply a very generous coating of brine to both sides, making sure to pat it into the meat and let it stick. Do this to all of your fillets and make sure you end with the skin side facing up. Then, once your oven's heated up to 350, you can throw in your whole pan. I let these bake for about 15 minutes, but we're going to broil them at the end to make the skin nice and crispy. While the trout is cooking, you can prepare your bagel. I think onion bagels go very good with this recipe, and I usually just toast them until they're slightly brown. After your bagel's toasted, you can take some cream cheese of your choice, preferably plain or scallion, and apply a generous amount to both bagels. By this point, your trout should be done baking, and you can set your oven to broil on high. You're only going to want to do this for 3 minutes to avoid burning the sugar. Once that's done, you can pull them out and let them rest for a minute or two. I recommend not touching them or the sugar will stick to your skin and it will still be very hot. But once they're cool enough to handle, I like to cut my fillets in half and put both halves on one side of the bagel. Then on top of these, I put some banana peppers. You can use pickled jalapenos if you'd like. And then you just put your other side of the bagel on top. And there you have yourself a trout and cream cheese sandwich. Look at how fat that thing is. Oh my God. Might have made it slightly too large. That's okay. That is unreal, dude. I definitely suggest wrapping this thing so it doesn't fall apart. But man, this is like the best thing ever. I was gonna do my outro before I ate, but I scarfed that thing down. Big shout out, Tackle the People, for that recipe. He had in one of his videos, and I thought it looked very interesting and I should try it. And I tried it last week, and now I'm addicted to those things. So thanks for that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm definitely gonna be hitting Wachusett pretty hard this next month or so. I'm in desperate need of that 30-inch laker, and I think this is probably the best time to do it. So I'll probably be living there for the next month. Hopefully it doesn't take me a month to catch one, but you never know. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you liked it, make sure to leave me a like. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Put out tons of fishing content. Gonna have some turkey stuff coming end of April. Super excited for that. But thank you guys again. I'll be seeing you on the next one.